Tom Clark stood at the weathered gate of his family's Victorian home, a monument to memories he wished he could forget. The paint was chipping off in great swatches, revealing raw wood beneath, and the garden that once bloomed was now a tangle of weeds, each one clinging to its own story of neglect. Worn and weary, he took a deep breath, the musty scent of old wood and dust invading his lungs. This house was steeped in history, but it wasn't the kind that comforted. It was a weight, a burden, and each step toward the front door felt like trudging through muck. As he pushed open the heavy door, it groaned in protest, a dull echo reverberating through the hollow corridors. The air was stale, thick with the echoes of a past that seemed reluctant to let go. Tom set down his bag and wandered through the living room, the floor creaking underfoot like a warning. His gaze fell upon an oddly placed wall, a stark interruption in the flow of the room. The blueprints, yellowed and frayed, were tucked away in a dusty folder. This wall didn't match. It sent a chill racing up his spine, a family secret perhaps, hidden just out of sight. As the sun dipped below the horizon, shadows danced along the walls, whispering tales of long-forgotten sorrow. That night, rest was elusive. Strange noises punctuated the silence, a soft scratching, a distant thump, like a heartbeat drumming against the eerie quiet of the house. Tom sat up in bed, his heart racing, a mix of skepticism and curiosity building within him. Old houses creaked and groaned. He could rationalize it, or so he tried. But while exploring the rooms the next day, he stumbled across a concealed compartment beneath the floorboards. His fingers tingled with the thrill of discovery as he pried it open, revealing an old, leather-bound journal. Dust swirled in the light as he flipped it open, each page worn and brittle. The handwriting was shaky, frantic at times, filled with cryptic entries that spoke of hidden truths best left buried. His uncle's voice seemed to leap from the pages, recounting the family's dark past, tragedies that whispered through the walls, secrets that had festered in silence. There were mentions of disappearances, of shadows lurking just out of sight, of paths taken that led nowhere but into darkness. Tom's gut twisted. The deeper he delved, the more the horror clawed at him, clinging like the dust in the corners of the house. As if in response to his growing unease, the walls seemed to breathe, the house settling around him with a sigh, maybe a groan, as though it spoke in haunting riddles. Tom stood frozen, the journal slipping from his grasp as a flicker of movement caught his eye. He shot a glance down the hall, heart throbbing. What secrets were hidden here? What unspeakable event lay shrouded behind the extra wall? Suddenly, he felt it, a suffocating weight pressing in on him, as if the echoes of the past were warning him. Some things were never meant to be uncovered. An unsettling feeling settled in his chest, giving rise to a terrifying question. What had his family buried behind those walls, and would he be brave enough to find out? The journal fell to the floor with a soft thud. Tom stood frozen, eyes glued to the hallway. The air felt heavy, thick with secrets. He glanced back at the journal, then to the wall that loomed before him. "Tom, you all right?" A voice cut through the stillness. It was his sister, Maggie. She appeared in the doorway, her brow furrowed with concern. "Yeah, just looking at this wall." He gestured vaguely, not wanting to reveal too much. "Creepy place, huh?" She stepped inside, glancing around with an uneasy smile. "You hear those noises last night? Just the house settling, right?" Tom tried to sound casual. Maggie walked closer, eyes narrowing at the journal. "What's that?" Nothing. Just some old stuff." He scrambled to pick it up, clutching it to his chest. "Old stuff? You look like you've seen a ghost. Open it," she commanded playfully, but her playful tone faded when she saw his face. "No." He flipped it closed, the dusty air swirling around. "It's just family history, nothing worth your time." "Come on, you can't just hide things from me," she said, her voice softer. "We've been through worse, haven't we?" Tom sighed. "This feels different." "Different how?" She folded her arms. "It hints at tragedies, disappearances," he stammered. "Like what? Don't leave me hanging." What if they were family? Maggie stepped back, the weight of his words sinking in. Family? That's messed up, Tom. Yeah. Silence hung between them. You know what? I'm going to find out. Maggie turned suddenly, determination in her voice. Wait! Tom reached out. We should think it through. No time for that. I can't just sit here wondering. She opened the journal, flipping through pages rapidly. Careful, it's fragile. Just a few pages. She paused. What's this? She pointed to a line scrawled near the end. Tom leaned in. What does it say? There's a name here. Marjorie. It says she knew something. Something bad. She saw the truth. What truth? I don't know. Shh! Tom hushed abruptly as a loud creaking echoed from the upper floor. Maggie's eyes widened. Did you hear that? I did. Maybe it's just the wind. Wind doesn't sound like footsteps. They both held their breath, ears straining for more. The sounds grew louder, one after another, heavy footsteps. Someone or something was moving around upstairs. What should we do? Maggie whispered, barely loud enough to hear. I'll check it out. Stay here. No way. You're not going alone. Fine, just be quiet. They climbed the staircase, which groaned alarmingly. The second floor was dark, the air stale. Tom walked slowly, keeping his eyes on the shadows. Each step felt like a betrayal of the quiet they'd always known. Tom, I'm scared, Maggie said, barely above a whisper. Me too. As they approached the door to the attic, a loud bang sounded from inside. Did you hear that? Maggie tensed. Yeah. Tom clenched his jaw. Should we open it? No. Then what? He steeled himself. I'm opening it. With a deep breath, he turned the knob and pushed the door open. Dust billowed into the air, swirling in sudden movement. Before them lay the dimly lit attic, cluttered with boxes and old furniture. Faded photos lined the walls, their faces obscured by dust. But it wasn't the photos that caught their attention. In the center of the room, illuminated by a slant of light from a cracked window, stood a figure. Maggie! Tom's heart dropped. Who's that? She whispered loudly, grabbing his arm. Don't move! The figure turned slowly, and their eyes met Tom's, a young woman, barely in her 20s, hair disheveled, clothes tattered. You shouldn't be here. Her voice broke the stillness. Who are you? Tom demanded. Get out! This place isn't safe! She shouted, her eyes wild with fear. Why? What do you know? Tom stepped closer. Suddenly, the floor beneath them groaned loudly as if the house itself was warning them. Tom, we need to go! Maggie pulled him back. No! Who are you? What do you know about my family? Leave! The woman's voice broke into a scream. Then the room shuddered. Boxes toppled over, and the sound of cracking wood filled the air. From behind them, a loud crash echoed down the stairs, an ominous rumble that made the very walls tremble. Run! Tom shouted, shoving Maggie back toward the stairs. They turned to escape, but the attic door slammed shut behind them with a deafening bang. Maggie! Tom reached for the knob, but it wouldn't budge. The walls vibrated as if the house was alive, consumed by chaos. Tom, what do we do? Her eyes were wide, terror spilling into her voice. I don't know. Keep pushing. Suddenly, the attic window shattered, shards raining down like confetti, and outside the sky darkened ominously. Now! Tom yelled, smashing against the door with all his weight. With the force of the impact, the door finally gave way, flinging them back into the staircase. They scrambled down, hearts racing, barely aware of the growing roar around them. Get out! Get out now! Shouted the woman from the attic, her voice echoing behind them. They burst through the front door and into the chaotic night, but the weight of what they'd uncovered followed closely. What just happened? Maggie gasped, breathless. I don't know. Who was she? As they stood outside, the ground trembled beneath them, and Tom shivered. A voice he'd never heard whispered through the night air, chilling him to the core. You should have left it buried. His blood ran cold. What had they unleashed? Chapter 2. The Weight of Secrets. Tom and Maggie stumbled away from the house, breathless and shaken. The night air was heavy, almost suffocating. What the hell was that? Maggie panted. I don't know, Tom shouted back, eyes darting to the front door. It stood closed, an ominous black void behind the old wood. "Should we go back?" Maggie said, looking over her shoulder. "Are you crazy? No way!" Tom grabbed her hand. "We need to get out of here." They dashed down the cracked sidewalk, the streetlights casting long shadows. "What did she mean?" "This place isn't safe," Maggie asked, fear creeping into her voice. Tom shook his head. "It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out later." Maggie stopped. "No, we shouldn't go back. What if she's right? What if—" "Move!" Tom cut her off, ushering her down the street. They ran a few blocks, hearts pounding, the memory of the woman in the attic fresh in their minds. "Do you think we should call someone?" Maggie asked, looking back at the house. "The cops or—" "No, we can't let anyone know." Tom's voice was firm. "They won't believe us. I barely believe it." They reached the corner and leaned against a lamppost, gasping for air. "Okay, just breathe." Tom grabbed her shoulder. "Let's think." "Think about what? That girl, the attic?" She was trembling. "Yeah, we need to figure out what she knows." Maggie shook her head. "She obviously wanted us to leave. Maybe we should listen." "No," Tom snapped. "We can't just walk away. If she knew something, what if it's dangerous? No, we're in this deep now. We need answers." "Tom, that house, it feels wrong." The two stood in silence, the weight of the house pressing into them from a distance. "Let's go back," he said quietly. "Are you out of your mind?" "Please, Maggie. I need to know more." Maggie hesitated. Then she sighed heavily. "Fine, but if anything happens, I'm out. Deal." They turned and headed back. As they approached the house, Tom's heart raced. The windows looked dark, cold. He grabbed the doorknob, but it was locked tight. "Tom, what are you doing?" Maggie whispered urgently. "Finding another way in." "Wait," she said, eyes wide. "Just watch the front." He rushed around the side, his footsteps echoing against the worn wood. "Tom, be careful." Maggie followed quietly. They found a back door, hanging slightly ajar. Tom pushed it open, and it creaked loudly. "Not a good sign," Maggie hissed. "Stop it," he said, stepping inside. The kitchen was covered in layers of dust, the air stale. "Tom, if we're going to do this, we should stick together," Maggie pleaded. "Fine, but stay close." They moved through the dark rooms, the air thickening around them. Shadows stretched across the walls. Every creak made them jump. "What now?" Maggie whispered, stopping in front of the living room. "Upstairs. We need to talk to that girl again." They climbed the stairs, the old wood groaning under their weight. "God, it smells up here." Maggie grimaced. "Yeah, let's hurry." Tom opened the attic door slowly. The old knob turned easily this time. The room was quiet. Dust hung in the air, swirling in slivers of moonlight. There was no sign of the woman. "Where is she?" Maggie whispered, stepping in. "Maybe she—" A loud crash came from the back of the attic. They jumped. "What was that?" Maggie blurted. "Stay here, I'll check." "Tom, don't." But he moved forward. Cautiously, he approached the sound. Then he saw it. A box had toppled over near the wall. "Maggie, come here." She joined him, eyes wide with confusion. "What's in there?" He knelt and lifted the box. It was filled with old photographs, yellowing papers. He sifted through it, heart pounding. "Look at this," he said, pulling out a photo. "It's our family, but it must be years ago." Maggie leaned in. "Who's that guy? He looks just like Dad." "No way, it can't be." Then Tom spotted another photo. It was a woman, dark hair cascading over her shoulders. "This is Marjorie." "What?" Maggie blinked. "She looks just like that girl we saw." As they examined the photo, a sudden chill swept through the attic. "Ugh, what's that?" Maggie shivered. "Something's wrong." Tom glanced back toward the attic door. Without warning, the door slammed shut again. "Tom!" Maggie screamed. "Hold on!" He rushed to the door, jiggling the knob. "No, it's stuck!" she cried. "Get away from it!" A loud thump came from the corner of the attic, followed by an echoing voice, a low growl. "Maggie, back up!" Something dark shifted in the shadows. It grew larger, twisting toward them. "What the—" Tom shouted. Suddenly a figure emerged, a man with wild eyes. It wasn't the woman. "Get out!" he screamed, lunging forward. "Maggie!" Tom yanked her back just as the man fell to the ground, crashing against a trunk. "Run!" They bolted for the door, but it wouldn't budge. The man scrambled to his feet. "Maggie, push!" Tom shouted. She threw her weight against the door, panic setting in. "Help me!" Tom yelled at the man, who only watched, frenzied. The door finally flew open and they broke free. Outside, they stumbled down the stairs, hearts racing. "What just happened?" Maggie gasped, looking back at the house. "I don't know. Who was that guy?" He felt the warmth of tears on his cheeks, but then another voice filled the air, chilling them both. "You shouldn't have come back." It was the woman from the attic, standing outside the front door, staring at them with those wild eyes. Tom felt his breath catch in his throat. "What do you mean?" he managed. "The house is alive. You've awoken it." Her words sank deep. The ground beneath them trembled. "What do we do?" Maggie cried. "Leave," she said, voice firm, "while you still can." But before Tom could respond, the ground shook violently, as if the earth itself was erupting beneath them. "Run!" he shouted, grabbing Maggie's hand. They darted down the street, the house looming behind them, alive with whispers, secrets, and a menace that felt endless. All they could hear was the sound of their pounding feet and the voice echoing in the night. "You should have left it buried." Chapter 3. The Awakening. Tom and Maggie ran, hearts racing, feet pounding the cracked pavement. The house loomed behind them, a dark silhouette against the night sky. "What was that?" Maggie gasped, glancing back. "Did you see her?" "Yeah!" Tom shouted, pulling her along. "But we can't stop. We've got to get away." "Where do we go?" Maggie said, breathless. "Anywhere but here. Just keep moving." They turned a corner, skirting a street lamp. Its glow flickered, casting long shadows. The weight of the house felt like it was pressing on their backs. "What if she was right?" Maggie panted. "What if the house is alive?" Tom shook his head. "I don't know, but we need to regroup, figure this out." "Regroup, Tom, we just saw a ghost." "A ghost or a person? I have no clue." He pulled her to a stop. "We can't panic. We need a plan." Maggie steadied herself. "Okay, what now?" "Let's find a safe place," he said, looking around. "Maybe the diner down the block?" They moved quickly, scanning the streets. The diner was a shadow, bright neon lights flickering above. As they pushed through the door, the bell jingled. A tired waitress glanced up. "Just coffee," Tom said, urgency in his voice. "Sit anywhere," the waitress replied, wiping her hands on a stained apron. They sank into a booth, breathing heavily. "Why did we go back?" Maggie said, her voice shaking. "Why didn't we just leave? I thought we'd get answers." "Answers? You mean more questions? What is wrong with you?" "I don't know. Tom stopped. "I want to understand." Maggie looked at him like he was a stranger. "Understanding won't help us now. Look, I'm sorry. I didn't think it would go that far." A heavy silence filled the booth as they both stared at the table. "Maybe we should call someone," Maggie suggested, her eyes darting. "Who? The cops?" Tom snapped. "You think they'll believe us? We sound insane." She bit her lip. "I just want to be safe. I get it, but—" The diner's door swung open with a bang. A man staggered in, rain-soaked and frantic. "Help!" he shouted, breathless. "You gotta help me." Tom and Maggie exchanged glances. "What's wrong?" Tom asked, leaning forward. "There's people. They're after me." The waitress rolled her eyes. "You need to calm down." "No, you don't understand. They'll kill me." The man's eyes were wild as he slammed his palms on the counter. Tom's heart raced again. "Who's after you?" "Some cult or something. They want to sacrifice me." "Sacrifice you?" Maggie echoed, eyes wide. "Yes." The man nodded vigorously. "My sister, she's been taken. They think I know where she is." Tom's mind raced. "What are you talking about?" "They're in that house," the man shouted. "You were in there, weren't you?" Maggie looked at Tom, fear written across her face. "Yeah." Tom's voice was steady as he tried to process. "Why would they want you?" I saw something. I wasn't supposed to. My sister Marjorie. They think I know what happened to her." "Marjorie," Maggie gasped. "That's the name from the journal." The man nodded. "You have to believe me. You have to help me find her. They're coming for me." "What do we do?" Tom asked, his mind racing. "Look, we can't stay here." "They'll find us," the man said, glancing around. "Who?" Tom pressed. "The ones in the house. They're not just spirits, they're something worse. They won't let anyone leave. They want blood." "Stop!" Maggie shouted. "You're freaking us out." "Freaking you out?" The man pointed a shaking finger. "Your lives depend on this." Tom narrowed his eyes. "What do you know?" The man's expression shifted, his eyes filled with fear, then something deeper, something darker. "I know too much," he whispered. "And now you do too." "What do you mean?" Tom demanded. "Because you both went back. Now you're marked. If you want to live, you must act before the night is over." "Act how?" Maggie asked, her voice trembling. "Find the source, the secrets hidden in that house. Only then can you save your family. Otherwise, you're as good as dead." Tom's heart pounded. "What do you mean, source?" A loud bang erupted from the back entrance. The door burst open and a group of figures rushed in, black cloaks billowing. "There he is!" one of them shouted. The man's eyes widened. "No, no! Stay away!" He started to back away, but the shadows advanced. "Run!" Tom yelled, pulling Maggie out of the booth. Chaos erupted. The waitress screamed, and dishes shattered as the figures lunged. Tom grabbed Maggie's hand. "This way!" They dashed toward the exit, but the figures were right behind them. "Get the girl!" they shouted. "She's with him!" "Tom!" Maggie cried, fear taking over. "What do we do? They won't stop!" "I don't know, just keep running!" They burst into the night, but the cold air hit them like a wall. The figures pursued, their footsteps echoing behind. "We can't let them catch us!" Tom shouted, adrenaline pumping. "We need a plan!" Maggie gasped, glancing back. "Just run!" They veered down an alley, but there was nowhere to hide. They could hear the figures closing in, their voices filled with rage. "Stop!" one yelled. Breathless and desperate, Tom and Maggie reached a dead end. A tall brick wall loomed before them. "Damn it!" Tom spat, pulling at his hair. "Climb! Just climb!" Maggie urged. Tom grabbed her arm. "Help me boost you!" Maggie scrambled and he helped her up. As she reached for the top, the figures rounded the corner. "Get her!" one shouted. "Tom!" Maggie screamed, dangling from the wall. He pushed her up. "Go! Get over!" But before Tom could climb, a figure lunged at him, grabbing his shirt. "No!" he shouted, fighting back. "Maggie, go!" he yelled as he struggled. "Tom!" she cried out. With one last shove, she climbed over the wall. Tom felt himself pulled back as darkness closed in. "Let me go!" he roared, kicking out, but their grip was too strong. Tom's vision blurred as he tried to fight. Pain shot through him. He twisted, trying to break free, and then an echoing voice filled the night. "You shouldn't have come back." Everything faded to black. To be continued. Chapter 4. The Shadows Within. Tom blinked, his vision swirling. He felt a slick surface beneath him. The smell of dirt and something old filled his nostrils. He was lying on the ground, but where? "Hey, Tom!" A voice pierced through the fog. He struggled to sit up. It was Maggie. She looked shaken, eyes wide and frantic. "Maggie? What happened?" He fought to clear his mind. "You blacked out. They grabbed you." Tom groaned, rubbing his head. "Where are we?" "In an alley. I think they stopped chasing us." Tom pushed himself to his feet, wobbly. "We need to move. We can't stay here." She nodded and stood up, scanning the area. They were in a narrow alley, crumbling bricks on either side. The sounds of the night surrounded them, but it felt different, more ominous. "Do you think they followed us?" Maggie whispered. "Maybe. Let's find a way out." They walked cautiously, eyes darting around. More adrenaline coursed through Tom. He could feel his heart racing. "Was that guy really serious?" Maggie asked suddenly. "About the cult and all?" "I don't know. He seemed terrified." A noise echoed from the alley entrance. They froze. Tom glanced back. "Did you hear that?" "Yes," she whispered. Footsteps echoed down the street as shadows moved closer. "We have to hide," Tom urged, dragging Maggie around the corner. They squeezed behind a dumpster. "God, Tom, this is insane," she said, trying to catch her breath. "Just be quiet." The footsteps grew louder, a group of voices chatting. The figures didn't seem to notice them. Tom squinted to see better. "Where is he?" one of the voices said. Can't be far. He's got to be scared. We need to find him. They think they can just run away. Keep looking. Tom's stomach twisted. He turned to Maggie. We need to move, or they'll find us. What if we go back to the diner? She suggested hesitantly. No way, too many people. We can't risk it. Suddenly a loud crash cut through the air. Tom glanced back toward the entrance. What was that? Maggie whispered. Don't know. Stay still. Their hearts raced, but they couldn't break eye contact with the alley entrance. The sounds grew dimmer as the figures moved away. Tom felt a slight relief. Okay, I think we're good. Are you sure? Yeah. He peeked around the dumpster. The coast seemed clear. Let's go. They stepped out cautiously, scanning for any signs of danger, but the street was empty now, almost too quiet. I don't like this, Maggie said, biting her lip. Let's get away from this area. Back to the house? Tom suggested. Why would we go there? Because it's the only place that might have answers. Maggie hesitated. It's too dangerous. Maybe, but we can't just run forever, he replied, determination stealing his voice. Fine, but if we go back, we're sticking together. We can't get separated again. Agreed. They moved carefully, heading back toward the house. As they walked, Tom felt a strange sensation, like eyes were on him. Do you feel that? He asked Maggie. What? I don't know. Just this feeling. Like what, specifically? Like something's watching us. Stop it! You're freaking me out, she whispered. But just as Tom was about to reply, a loud crash sounded from a nearby building. They jumped. What now? Maggie said, clearly on edge. I don't know. Let's keep moving. They picked up the pace, their breaths quickening again. Soon they reached the old Victorian home. The front yard was dark. The house loomed over them like a monster. Do we have to? Maggie asked, fidgeting. Yeah, we'll figure this out. Tom took a deep breath and opened the front door. It creaked ominously. Tom, wait! But he pressed forward, stepping inside. The stale air hit them again. Stay close, he murmured. They entered the living room, filled with shadows. The air felt different, heavy. Where to? Maggie asked, her eyes wide. Upstairs. They moved cautiously, feet creaking against the old wood. Tom scanned the hallway for any signs of movement. This is insane, Maggie said quietly. I can't believe we're back here. Just a little further. They reached the door to the attic. Tom grabbed the knob and turned it slowly. Let's go, he said, opening the door. The attic was dark, the shadows more pronounced. Hello? He called out. Is anyone here? Silence fell. Tom, I don't like this, Maggie said, shifting her weight. Neither do I. Keep your eyes open. Suddenly a loud bang echoed within the attic, making them jump. What's going on? Maggie yelled. Let's find out, Tom shouted back, moving further inside. Maggie! She followed breathlessly. They stepped deeper into the attic, eyes darting. Then, without warning, something fell from the rafters, crashing to the floor. Whoa! Tom yelled, jumping back. What was that? Maggie's voice shook. Tom moved closer to the wreckage. It was a box, but it was different. Old. He kneeled down, opening the broken box. Inside there were old dolls. Some were stitched, others cracked. Maggie gasped. What the hell are those? Dolls? These look like collectibles? Collectibles, Maggie said, rolling her eyes. Those look creepy. Tom pulled one out. It had dark eyes, a stitched smile. Look at this one. It seems so real. Tom, put it down. We shouldn't mess with anything. But just as he tossed it back in the box, the temperature in the attic dropped. What's happening? Maggie asked, her breath visible in the sudden chill. We're not alone. We should leave, Tom said, eyeing the shadowy corners. But just then, a scream reverberated through the attic, echoing off the walls. Maggie! Tom shouted, looking around. What was that? And then they saw the corner of the attic shift and tremble. Maggie's eyes widened. No, no, not again. Tom felt a deep dread settle within him. A figure materialized in the corner, the same young woman they had seen before. Get out, she screamed, eyes filled with terror. Why? What do you want from us? Tom yelled back. The woman's expression shifted, and suddenly she was pointing behind them. Maggie, look out! Tom shouted as a shadow lunged at her from behind. But it was too late. The darkness enveloped them, and a scream erupted from Maggie's throat. "Tom, help!" He turned, but another shadow surged forward, forcing him back. The room spun as darkness swallowed the attic. Tom fought against the instinct to flee. "Maggie!" he yelled. Suddenly sunlight flickered through the cracks, illuminating the attic. Shadows shrank back, disappearing. "Maggie!" He stumbled forward, but he found only an empty corner. Panic seized him. "Maggie!" The attic door slammed shut, and a loud bang reverberated through the house. "No! Let me out!" Tom yelled, pounding against the wooden door. Silence hung, thick and heavy. "Please!" he shouted. "No one can come back!" The voice of the woman echoed in the darkness. "Let her go!" But the attic felt alive, closing in. Secrets hung in the air, thick with dread. And for Tom, horror settled in. He was utterly alone. To be continued. Chapter 4. The Shadows Within. Tom blinked, his vision swirling. He felt a slick surface beneath him. The smell of dirt and something old filled his nostrils. He was lying on the ground, but where? "Hey, Tom!" A voice pierced through the fog. He struggled to sit up. It was Maggie. She looked shaken, eyes wide and frantic. "Maggie? What happened?" He fought to clear his mind. "You blacked out. They grabbed you." Tom groaned, rubbing his head. "Where are we?" "In an alley. I think they stopped chasing us." Tom pushed himself to his feet, wobbly. "We need to move. We can't stay here." She nodded and stood up, scanning the area. They were in a narrow alley, crumbling bricks on either side. The sounds of the night surrounded them, but it felt different, more ominous. "Do you think they followed us?" Maggie whispered. "Maybe. Let's find a way out." They walked cautiously, eyes darting around. More adrenaline coursed through Tom. He could feel his heart racing. "Was that guy really serious?" Maggie asked suddenly. "About the cult and all?" "I don't know. He seemed terrified." A noise echoed from the alley entrance. They froze. Tom glanced back. "Did you hear that?" "Yes," she whispered. Footsteps echoed down the street as shadows moved closer. "We have to hide," Tom urged, dragging Maggie around the corner. They squeezed behind a dumpster. "God, Tom, this is insane," she said, trying to catch her breath. "Just be quiet." The footsteps grew louder, a group of voices chatting. The figures didn't seem to notice them. Tom squinted to see better. "Where is he?" one of the voices said. "Can't be far. He's got to be scared. We need to find him. They think they can just run away. Keep looking." Tom's stomach twisted. He turned to Maggie. "We need to move or they'll find us." "What if we go back to the diner?" she suggested hesitantly. "No way, too many people, we can't risk it." Suddenly a loud crash cut through the air. Tom glanced back toward the entrance. "What was that?" Maggie blurted. "Don't know, stay still." Their hearts raced, but they couldn't break eye contact with the alley entrance. The sounds grew dimmer as the figures moved away. Tom felt a slight relief. "Okay, I think we're good. Are you sure?" "Yeah." He peeked around the dumpster. The coast seemed clear. "Let's go." They stepped out cautiously, scanning for any signs of danger, but the street was empty now, almost too quiet. "I don't like this," Maggie said, biting her lip. "Let's get away from this area." "Back to the house?" Tom suggested. "Why would we go there?" "Because it's the only place that might have answers." Maggie hesitated. "It's too dangerous." "Maybe, but we can't just run forever," he replied, determination stealing his voice. "Fine, but if we go back, we're sticking together. We can't get separated again." Agreed. They moved carefully, heading back toward the house. As they walked, Tom felt a strange sensation, like eyes were on him. "Do you feel that?" he asked Maggie. "What? I don't know. Just this feeling." "Stop it, you're freaking me out," she whispered, but just as Tom was about to reply, a loud crash sounded from a nearby building. They jumped. "What now?" Maggie said, clearly on edge. "I don't know. Let's keep moving." They picked up the pace, their breaths quickening again. Soon they reached the old Victorian home. The front yard was dark. The house loomed over them like a monster. "Do we have to?" Maggie asked, fidgeting. "Yeah. We'll figure this out." Tom took a deep breath and opened the front door. It creaked ominously. "Tom, wait!" But he pressed forward, stepping inside. The stale air hit them again. "Stay close," he murmured. They entered the living room, filled with shadows. The air felt different, heavy. "Where to?" Maggie asked, her eyes wide. "Upstairs." They moved cautiously, feet creaking against the old wood. Tom scanned the hallway for any signs of movement. "This is insane," Maggie said quietly. "I can't believe we're back here." Just a little further. They reached the door to the attic. Tom grabbed the knob and turned it slowly. "Let's go," he said, opening the door. The attic was dark, the shadows more pronounced. "Hello?" he called out. "Is anyone here?" Silence fell. "Tom, I don't like this," Maggie said, shifting her weight. "Neither do I. Keep your eyes open." Suddenly, a loud bang echoed within the attic, making them jump. "What's going on?" Maggie yelled. "Let's find out," Tom shouted back, moving further inside. "Maggie!" She followed breathlessly. They stepped deeper into the attic, eyes darting. Then, without warning, something fell from the rafters, crashing to the floor. "Whoa!" Tom yelled, jumping back. "What was that?" Maggie's voice shook. Tom moved closer to the wreckage. It was a box, but it was different, old. He kneeled down, opening the broken box. Inside, there were old dolls. Some were stitched, others cracked. Maggie gasped. "What the hell are those?" "Dolls? These look like collectibles." "Collectibles," Maggie said, rolling her eyes. "Those look creepy." Tom pulled one out. It had dark eyes, a stitched smile. "Look at this one. It seems so real." "Tom, put it down. We shouldn't mess with anything." But just as he tossed it back in the box, the temperature in the attic dropped. "What's happening?" Maggie asked, her breath visible in the sudden chill. "We're not alone." "We should leave," Tom said, eyeing the shadowy corners. But just then, a scream reverberated through the attic, echoing off the walls. "Maggie!" Tom shouted, looking around. "What was that?" And then they saw the corner of the attic shift and tremble. Maggie's eyes widened. "No, no, not again." Tom felt a deep dread settle within him. A figure materialized in the corner, the same young woman they had seen before. "Get out!" she screamed, eyes filled with terror. "Why? What do you want from us?" Tom yelled back. The woman's expression shifted, and suddenly she was pointing behind them. "Maggie, look out!" Tom shouted as a shadow lunged at her from behind. But it was too late. The darkness enveloped them, and a scream erupted from Maggie's throat. "Tom, help!" He turned, but another shadow surged forward, forcing him back. The room spun as darkness swallowed the attic. Tom fought against the instinct to flee. "Maggie!" Suddenly sunlight flickered through the cracks, illuminating the attic. Shadows shrank back, disappearing. "Maggie!" He stumbled forward, but he found only an empty corner. Panic seized him. "Maggie!" The attic door slammed shut, and a loud bang reverberated through the house. "No! Let me out!" Tom yelled, pounding against the wooden door. Silence hung, thick and heavy. "Please!" he shouted. "No one can come back!" The voice of the woman echoed in the darkness. "Let her go!" But the attic felt alive, closing in. Secrets hung in the air, thick with dread. And for Tom, horror settled in. He was utterly alone. "No, this can't be happening," he cried out. The walls seemed to pulse. Shadows twisted until they coalesced into a soft glow. "What do you want?" Tom asked, voice shaking. Then from the shadows the woman stepped forward, her eyes narrowing. "I shouldn't have let you back." "Let me back," Tom echoed. "You were the one who screamed to get out. You don't understand. You don't belong here." "But Maggie's in danger." "Exactly. What do you mean?" "Your sister is tied to this house. She can't leave," the woman said bluntly. "What are you talking about?" "She holds the key." "What key? What does that even mean?" "Every generation, someone is chosen. Chosen to remain." Tom's heart raced. "Chosen for what?" "Sacrifices need to be made to keep the house alive." Tom stumbled back. "What?" "She is connected. If the house wakes, it demands payment." "Payment?" Tom's voice cracked. "No, we won't pay for anything." The woman stepped closer, her fingers trembling. "It's too late. Once you enter, once you awaken it." "No!" The attic trembled beneath him. Cracks formed in the walls. Whispers filled the air. Suddenly, the door rattled violently, and a new figure burst inside, the man from the diner. "Help, they're coming!" he shouted, but his eyes widened in terror at the sight of the woman. "Stop! You shouldn't be here!" she yelled, panic rising. "Who is she?" Tom cried. "She's part of it. We can't let her in." "What are you talking about?" Tom spun, his mind racing. "They'll take her! We have to act now!" the man shouted, breathing heavily. "Take her! What's going on?" But before the man could answer, a loud crack split the air. "No!" the woman cried as shadows surged toward her. "Run!" Tom yelled, pushing the man and Maggie to the door. "Maggie!" he shouted. "Where's Maggie?" "She's gone! They have her!" "No!" Tom felt ice fill his veins. "Maggie! Listen to me!" The man grabbed Tom's shoulders, eyes wild. "You have to confront the darkness! You have to! It's the only way!" "But how? How do I find her?" "They will take her to the heart of the house. You have to go back, but you must not be taken." "Not be taken." Tom swallowed hard. "Or the house will consume you both." Suddenly shadows swirled around him. Tom stared at the woman. "Help us." "You must make a choice," she screamed. "Fate demands it." The walls rattled and an unbearable noise filled the attic. "Maggie!" Tom bellowed as the swirling shadows approached. "What will you choose?" The woman shouted over the noise. Tom's heart raced. He had no answers, only fear. "Tom!" the man urged. "Make it now." The shadows closed in, and Tom felt the weight of the house pressing down. "What do I do?" he shouted, tears in his eyes. The voice echoed again, chilling him to the bone. "You should have left it buried." And just like that, darkness consumed him. To be continued. Chapter 5. The Heart of Darkness. Tom felt the shadows wrap around him, tightening, squeezing. He gasped, struggling to breathe. The weight of the house pressed down on him like a vice. "Tom! No!" a voice cried out. It was Maggie, but it sounded far away. The darkness swallowed his vision. He reached out, searching for something solid. "Hang on!" he shouted, but it echoed into nothing. "Come back!" she screamed, panic lacing her voice. There was a loud crack, and suddenly the darkness broke apart. Light flooded in. Tom stumbled, falling to the floor. He blinked, trying to focus. He was back in the attic. Maggie stood by the door, wide-eyed, body trembling. "What happened?" she asked, breath hitching. "I don't know." He got to his feet, heart racing. "Where's that guy, the man from the diner?" "No idea." She shook her head. He just... What? He just disappeared." Her voice quivered. "Tom, I'm scared." He stepped closer. "We have to get out of here, now." The attic felt alive, shadows creeping along the edges. The woman stood in the corner again, watching them. "I shouldn't have let you in," she said, her voice low. "Let us in," Tom said, anger rising. "You didn't help us. It's not that simple." "What do you mean?" He clenched his fists. "We're not safe. We need to leave." "You can't. The house won't let you go," she replied, her eyes darkening. Tom's stomach dropped. "What do you mean? What do you know about it?" Maggie shifted beside him, glancing around. "Tom, we need to move." "They'll come," the woman warned. "Who will?" Tom snapped. "The ones who own the house." "Own? What are you talking about?" The door banged open, rattling on its hinges. "Get back!" The man from the diner burst into the room, wild-eyed and panting. "Stay away from him!" the woman shouted, stepping in front of Tom. "Maggie, let's get out!" Tom yelled, pointing to the door. "Wait!" the man shouted, raising his hand. "They're here!" The air crackled, heavy like a storm. Shadows gathered in the corners, forming dark shapes. "Tom! I can feel them!" Maggie cried. "No!" the man yelled, rushing forward. "Get away from her!" The shapes lunged, closing the distance. "Move!" Tom grabbed Maggie, yanking her toward the attic door, but the woman blocked their path. "You can't leave!" "Why?" Tom demanded, pushing past her. "Because you don't know what you're running into." "Does it matter?" he shouted. "You didn't warn us before." Footsteps sounded behind them, heavy, deliberate. "Maggie!" Tom pulled her closer. "We have to go." The man shoved his way past them. "No, we have to face them." "Face what?" Tom shouted. "The truth!" the man yelled. Suddenly the wall exploded in shadows. Black figures loomed, eyes glinting like knives. They rushed forward. "Maggie!" Tom shouted, grabbing her hand. They raced for the staircase. Tom pounded down the steps, heart racing. "Keep up!" he yelled. "You think I'm slow? Let's go!" She followed close behind, adrenaline pushing her. They burst into the living room, skidding to a stop. The house felt alive. Whispering voices echoed around them. "Tom, what do we do?" Maggie's face was pale. "Just keep moving!" he shouted, pointing to the door. They hit the front porch and ran into the night. The cold air hit hard. "Where do we go?" she gasped, looking up and down the street. "Somewhere safe." The man followed them outside. "They'll come for you. They can smell fear." "Great!" Tom snapped. "What do we do? Fight them off?" "No, we need a plan. The heart of the house, that's where it all leads." "Heart?" Maggie said, uncertain. "Yeah, the source. We have to destroy it." Maggie stepped back. "Destroy what?" "It's the only way," the man insisted. "Is that what you meant inside?" Tom pressed. "Yes." The man looked desperate. "You woke them up. We need to put them back to sleep." "I don't want to be part of this," Maggie shouted. "I just want to be safe." "Then you need to trust me," the man argued. "Trust you? After what just happened?" Tom said, pacing. "Do you want your sister back or not?" "Tom," Maggie pulled at him. "We can't listen to him. Shut up," Tom snapped. "Let's hear him out." The man took a deep breath. "Listen, the heart is a room in the basement. That's where they trap people. If we destroy it, it cuts off their power." "Then how do we get in?" Tom asked, eyes narrowing. "You don't." "I'll go," the man said, determination in his voice. "No, we all go," Tom replied. "We don't have time to argue," the man yelled. "If we don't move, we're dead." "Then what's the plan?" "Grab something to break it. We can use the tools from the shed out back," he suggested, glancing toward the garden. Tom looked at Maggie. He could see her fear reflected in his eyes. "You okay?" "I don't know, Tom. This feels wrong. Just stick with me." He pulled her close. They hurried to the shed, throwing open the door. The room was dim, tools hanging like ghosts. "Grab something heavy," the man urged. Tom searched, picking up a rusted pipe. "This work?" "Yeah," the man nodded. "That'll do." "Now what?" Maggie asked, voice shaking. "We go back in." "No way," she protested. "We just got out." "We have to face it, Maggie," Tom insisted. "For our family, it's the only way to end this." Maggie bit her lip, fear evident in her eyes. "Let's move." Tom raised the pipe. "We can't waste time." They marched back to the house, hearts thumping. "Wait!" The man stopped them. "Just know, once we go in, there's no turning back." "What?" Maggie whispered. Tom's mind raced. "There's no other choice. We're together." He gripped Maggie's hand. "No matter what." But as they moved toward the door, they heard a low rumble from inside the house. "No!" the man gasped. "It's awakening!" The front door slammed shut. "No!" Tom shouted. "Get ready!" the man yelled. Before they could react, shadows erupted from the door. "Maggie!" Tom screamed, but she vanished into the dark. "No!" he yelled, panic racing through him. "Get the heart! Now!" the man shouted, swinging his pipe at the onrushing shadows. "Where is it?" Tom demanded, fear coursing through him. "Follow me!" The man pulled Tom into the house, the shadows swirling. "Don't let them take you." Tom pushed forward, digging deep into his determination. "Maggie, where are you?" But the house answered with whispers. "You should have left it buried." "Tom!" A voice echoed back, a faint sound like wind through trees. "Hang on!" he yelled, but reality faded around him. Shadows closed in, darkness swallowed his shout. To be continued. Chapter 6. Shadows collide. Tom stumbled forward, fighting the dark that threatened to swallow him whole. He felt the shadows closing in, cold and unyielding. Behind him, the man shouted, bludgeoning dark figures with the rusted pipe. "Tom! Keep moving!" "What about Maggie?" Tom yelled, panic surging through his chest. "Focus! We need to get to the basement." Tom's heart thudded against his ribcage as he pushed through the living room. The whispers rose, clawing at his ears, drowning out his thoughts. "You shouldn't have come back," they hissed. "I don't care," he shouted. "I'm not leaving without her." "Tom! This way!" The man gestured toward the door to the basement. The floor creaked ominously underfoot as Tom hurried to the door. He grabbed the handle, yanked it open, and plunged down the steps. The air was damp, thick with mildew. "Quick! We have to hurry!" "Where are we going?" Tom demanded, fear bubbling in his chest. "To the heart. It's down here," the man urged, glancing nervously over his shoulder. Tom descended quickly. Shadows fluttered behind him, snapping like live wires. He didn't look back. "What if it's trapped?" he asked. "The heart's the only hope." They reached the bottom. Tom blinked against the darkness. The room was wide and barren, save for a single wooden door at the far end. "Is that it?" Tom questioned, his voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, but—" The man faltered, breathing hard. "We're not alone." Tom turned, staring into the shadows. "What do you mean?" "I can feel them. They're watching us." The shadows thickened, coiling like smoke. A low growl rumbled through the air. "Back! Get back!" the man shouted, raising the pipe. Tom's heart raced. "What do we do?" "Stick together! Move!" They rushed toward the door at the end of the room. Tom reached for the handle, but the shadows surged forward. "Tom!" He felt the grip of cold hands on his arms. "Go!" he shouted to the man. The man swung the pipe wildly, connecting with something. A monstrous screech filled the air, piercing. "Now!" Tom yelled, yanking the door open. They tumbled inside, but the shadows swirled after them. "It's not safe!" the man cried. "Shut it!" Tom slammed the door behind him as the shadows thudded against the wooden barrier. "What now?" he panted, glancing around. The room was dimly lit, lined with old wooden shelves covered in dust. Strange objects filled the shelves: broken dolls, rusted tools, jars with something dark swirling inside. "Find it!" the man shouted, his voice frantic. "What?" Tom looked around, confusion bubbling. "The heart! It has to be here! What do we even look for?" The man stepped closer to a table in the middle of the room. "It's a box. It looks like this." He pointed to a carved wooden box, alluring yet ominous. Tom saw it and tugged at the lid. "Is this it? Open it!" He hesitated, but worked at the box. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed from the door. The shadows outside thudded against it, relentless. "Come on," the man urged. "Hurry!" Tom wrestled with the lid. It wouldn't budge. "It's stuck. Use the pipe." Tom grabbed the pipe and slammed it against the lid. The box splintered open, dust flying everywhere. Inside lay an orb, glowing faintly. "That's it!" the man shouted. "But—" Tom began, feeling a chill wrap around him. "What do we do with it?" "Smash it!" Before he could react, the door exploded inward. Shadows poured into the room, reaching for them. "Tom!" The man shoved Tom aside. "Get the orb!" The shadows lunged, unleashing a cacophony of screams. "Go! Now!" the man yelled, swinging the pipe wildly. Tom snatched the orb. It pulsed with warmth in his hands like a heartbeat. "Do it!" the man shouted, dodging a dark figure. Tom raised the orb. "What if it doesn't work? Then we won't live to find out!" The man was backed against the wall. He fought off the approaching shadows with desperation. "Tom!" he shouted again. "Aim for the heart! Trust me!" Tom pulled back the orb, a blend of anxiety and determination flooding through him. "I'm doing it." He threw the orb against the wall. It shattered with a blinding light. Every shadow recoiled, screaming. "Not like that!" the man yelled, but it was too late. A wave of energy erupted, pushing Tom and the man back against the wall. "Cover your eyes!" the man shouted. Tom shielded his face as the light burst forth like fireworks. But then it faded, and Tom felt the air grow still. "What? Did it work?" He blinked, but the room was empty. "Oh, where are they?" he gasped, breathing hard. Silence fell around them. "Tom?" He turned to the man, his mind racing. What just happened? But before either could respond, another figure emerged from the shadows, a familiar face that sent jolts of fear through Tom. "Maggie?" "No," the man whispered, eyes widening. "No, it can't be." Tom stared, disbelief flooding his veins. "You didn't say anything about her." Maggie's eyes darkened, flickering with something unrecognizable. "You shouldn't have come here, Tom." "Don't listen to her," the man shouted. "Maggie, what's going on?" Tom felt his throat tighten, but Maggie stepped closer, the shadows shifting in sympathy around her. "They want you to choose, Tom." "Choose what?" Me or him? What? Tom's heart raced as the implications struck him. You can't be serious. We're family. Maggie smiled, chilling, empty. You know how this works. No, you can't. Maggie, don't do this, the man begged. Tom felt the world spin. You're being pulled in. Maggie, he cried out, desperation tinging his voice. Fight it. Don't let them take you. She tilted her head, a look of sadistic clarity in her eyes. I'm already taken, Tom. You have to decide. The room grew darker. Shadows edged closer, their whispers thick in the air. Maggie, please! But she only gave a soft laugh, stepping closer to the shadows. Tom's fear erupted. No! He stepped forward, but an invisible force pushed him back. Choose, Tom! The man shouted, desperation coating his voice. Choose! Tom felt bile rise in his throat as the room twisted. Shadows danced, whispering promises. Maggie, I love you, he shouted. You're my sister. I won't give you up. Choose! The demand echoed through the room, pressing on him from all sides. No! The shadows began to close in, and he felt the collapse of choices. Tom! Again Maggie moved, beckoning him closer. Her voice shifted, intoxicating. Come to me. What do I do? With nothing but dread weighing him down, Tom shouted, I'll save you! And the room quaked. Maggie! But as he lunged forward, a shadow engulfed him, swallowing his words. And in that darkness, he felt the split. To be continued. Tom felt the shadows wrapping around him, pulling him deeper into a void. The cold gripped him as he struggled against it. Maggie! He shouted, his voice echoing, but only a chilling silence answered. Suddenly the darkness gave way, and he found himself standing in a strange place. It looked like the attic, but it felt different, alive. Shadows flickered along the walls like trapped spirits, watching him. Maggie! He yelled again, but all he saw were the shadows creeping closer, their whispers clawing at his mind. Tom! Her voice danced through the darkness, light and ethereal. Help me! He turned, searching desperately. Where are you? Here! Tom sprinted toward her voice, heart hammering in his chest. He pushed through a layer of shadow that felt like cold smoke. Then he saw her, standing there, but she was different. Her eyes were dark, swirling as if the very essence of the house surrounded her. Maggie, no! He cried. Fight it! You can't let it take you. But I'm already part of it, Tom, she replied, a soft smile spreading across her face, chilling him. You should have left. No, I won't lose you. He lunged forward, trying to grasp her hands, but the shadows pulled her back. Maggie! The man from the diner rushed in from another side of the attic. Tom, we have no time. The house is feeding on her. Tom spun toward him. What do we do? I can't let her go. We have to get to the heart of it, he said, urgency lacing his voice. You have to make her see that she's stronger than this. What if I can't? Just trust her, the man shouted. Tom turned back to Maggie. You are stronger. Remember who you are. Her expression faltered, confusion crossing her face. Tom, I don't know. Fight, Maggie. Remember our childhood, our family. He pushed against the shadows. You can break free. For a moment, her dark eyes flickered with light. Tom, that's right. You can do it. Come back to me. The shadows hissed, tightening around her. You shouldn't have come back, they snarled, voices mingling, threatening. No, Tom roared, feeling a surge of energy. He lunged forward, grabbing her shoulders. Choose me! Choose your family! The house quaked, resonating with dread and fear as the darkness writhed violently. Maggie's eyes glimmered again as if battling the force pulling her into the shadows. Fight, Maggie! Fight! Suddenly, something shifted. The orb glowed on the table, pulsing gently. Tom, Maggie whispered. The orb! Right! He dashed to it, seizing it in his hands. He turned back, holding it high. This belongs to you. It's your light. Tom crossed the distance between them, casting the orb toward her. The shadows thrashed, but the light burst forth, illuminating the attic in a brilliant glow. Maggie, reach for it! She hesitated, but in that moment the light bathed her, illuminating her face. The darkness shrieked, retreating as she stretched her arms toward the orb. "No, she belongs to us," the shadows shrieked. "Yes," Tom shouted. "She's my sister. She's not yours." With a glint of determination, Maggie lunged for the orb. As her fingers wrapped around it, the attic seemed to explode with light. The shadows writhed and contorted, screaming and dissipating. "Maggie!" Tom shouted, heart pounding as he watched her pull the light close to her chest. "Hold on!" With one last scream, the shadows melted away and the room shook with a final roar. Then silence fell. The light pulsed around them, warm and enveloping. Slowly, the dust settled, and the house fell still. Tom stood breathless, staring at Maggie, who collapsed to the ground, the orb's glow dimming at her side. "Maggie!" He rushed to her, dropping beside her. "Are you okay?" She looked up, eyes clear but tired. "Tom, I think we did it." "Yeah, I think we did too." Relief flooded through him as they embraced. But then the man from the diner stumbled forward, his face pale. "Is it gone?" "I think so," Tom said cautiously, glancing around the attic. "We need to get out of here." "Now," Maggie added, shaky but steady. They stood together, finding strength in each other as they walked towards the door. Together, they pushed it open, stepping into the light of a new dawn. "Did we really do it?" Tom asked nervously, glancing back at the dark house. Maggie nodded slowly. "Maybe, but there's always something left behind. Let's not think about it now. Let's just go." They left the house behind, stepping into the warm morning sun. The chill that had gripped them seemed to melt away as they walked, hand in hand away from the darkness. Yet in the distance, the house stood silent, shadows flickering at the windows. As they turned, the man watched, eyes wide. "You may have defeated it, but the darkness, it always finds a way back." Tom shivered. "Let's not talk about that." But deep down, he felt the unease settle like a storm cloud in his heart. "Remember, Tom," the man warned, "once darkness knows your name, it never really leaves." They kept walking, but in the distance, the house loomed, quiet, watching, waiting. But for how long? You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that dive deeper into the mysteries. Press the like button now to feed the algorithm and spread the word. Comment with your reactions and theories about this wild ending. And please share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to know this story. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait another second to share.